So it was the very end of graduate school, and I had just finished my thesis, and a group of friends were going square dancing, and I was like, really? Really? We're going square dancing? So I went square dancing, and when I left, my face hurt because I had smiled so much. And one of my girlfriends said it was the most she had been touched in years. And all of a sudden it clicked, this is my next project.
I'm going from the cotton fields. I'm going from the cane. I'm going from that little log hut that stands down in the lane.
I'm really interested in where do strangers touch and human connection. And I decided I wanted to make people hold hands. And square dancing seemed like a lot of fun. And before people would know it, they would be touching.
And there's just energy moving in every direction, and we're all tied together. And when we are all tied together, like, it's such a buzz.
I feel that in contemporary society, there isn't really a lot of places where strangers can touch. And so I started off making a documentary about the Minneapolis square dance scene, and as I got like halfway through, I was like, what am I doing? This isn't about square dancing, this is about touch.
You can't make it work without everybody on board. And so it's like this little negotiation you have to do with 8 strangers.
I wanted to do an all-night project where people square danced, printed books, and held hands. The square dancers played the entire night, so there was dancing going on. People printed all night long. We printed 2,000 books that night. And then if you held hands with a stranger, you got a piece of pie. When people were in line for their free pie, yelling out into the crowd, like, I need a stranger. Who wants to be my stranger? And I was like, yes, it's worked. I think one of the things that I try to do with all my projects also is to create a vulnerability. So I made a project I couldn't do on my own. There was no way I could, A, print 2,000 books, B, fold 2,000 books. Like it couldn't happen. So what I really loved about this process is that it took so many volunteers. It brought a lot of people together, and a lot of people who didn't really know a lot about bookmaking or square dancing. Kind of united different worlds. It's kind of a dance as it comes together. So it kind of folds and bounces, and I just really loved that it became a perfect little square. This was one of my favorite images, the actual 4 ladies all holding hands in the center. They're making a star, which is one of the square dance moves. So it takes 2 to make a pair, it takes 8 to make a square. They were the life lessons I'd learned through square dancing. So some of them were little poetic moments, like different parts of calls that I took and used. And then others were, like, I looked up the scientific, like what actually happens in the body when you hold someone's hand, and the advantages, the scientific advantages of holding someone's hand versus just the emotional advantages. When I hold your hand, the stress hormone, cortisol, decreases. The cuddle hormone, oxytocin, increases. And your orbital frontal cortex is awakened. I tend to include science in my work. I think I'm really interested in data and the actual science behind why things work. I couldn't decide if I wanted to be an artist or a scientist. In the end, I picked artist because I realized as a scientist you needed to create answers, and as an artist you had the ability to create questions. Part of me loves the emotional side and part of me likes the scientific side, and I think when you put them together it really puts a weight on what you're trying to say. I'm about to be a mom. I am a lot more aware of what the world will be like as he gets older and wanting it to be a good place, and hoping that maybe my projects can help maintain that friendliness, that hope. I think that all my projects have a little bit of hope tied in them. Fragility weighed down by hope.
Minnesota Original is made possible by the State Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund and the citizens of Minnesota.